105 days.
You are Locked On Huskers, your daily podcast on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, gang, Deep here, Locked On Huskers. Greatly appreciate you hanging out with us here on Locked On Huskers each and every single day, making it your first watch, first listen. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Want to thank the folks from Birddog. I'm going to throw it to Mark Onweiner, let him tell you about Birddogs.
Thanks, DP. Guys, I want to tell you about a new sponsor for Locked On College, Birddogs. Birddogs has shorts, they have pants, they have polos, gym shorts, Oxfords, khakis, all sorts of things for your entire life. I started wearing them. I look better, and I feel great when I'm wearing them. They've got these nice stretchy fabric and built-in liners, keep your boys there in place. They give me versatility throughout the day. I can wear them to the gym. I can wear them to the office. I can wear them around the house. I love them. But really, the only way for you to experience them yourself is to try them yourself. You can take my word for it, or you can give it a shot. And for now, go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege, enter the promo code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word. They'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. Go try them out. Find that the website's a hoot. They've got little comics and funny names and all sorts of great stuff. So just go to the website and experience that. But try the shorts, try the pants, pre-order the polos, see for yourself over at birddogs.com/lockedoncollege. DP, back to you.
Thank you, Mark. Much appreciated, brother. Good stuff. Again, comfy. If I can wear them everywhere, I'm all in. Shorts that I can wear everywhere. Comfy. Comfy is the word. Go to the website. That's what I would tell you. Go to the website. Worth your time. 105 days until PJ Fleck, the professor. Am I the only person that when I see PJ Fleck, I think of the Monopoly guy? Am I the only? I'm not being, but that's what I think of. I think, okay, Nebraska has 105 days to beat PJ Fleck and the Minnesota Gophers. And a big part of winning this is the battle between Matt Rhule and PJ Fleck, or PJ Fleck's coaching staff and Matt Rhule's coaching staff. As a matter of fact, there are people who would say that's where the game will be won. Because PJ Fleck and Minnesota and that staff already existed. They already exist in this space. They have full understanding of the roster. They have full understanding of in-game talent for Minnesota. They have full understanding of Big Ten play. They have full understanding of the expectations of Minnesota fans and the operations that are required and that take place in order for them to be successful. Advantage Minnesota. There's no question about that. But in the 105 days, can Matt Rhule and this staff elevate this program from where it was? And let's be clear, Minnesota and Nebraska are not starting at the same place today. They're not working from the same place today. They're not at the same level. Minnesota has success. They have winning. They have consistency. They have maturity. They have knowledge of, and they are familiar. Nebraska is in the rebuild, reconstruct, redevelopment, redefining, reimaging, rebranding, re-rostering. They're not in the same place. But there are 105 days. And I'll say this as simply as I can say it. There's no coach worth their name who doesn't feel like they can achieve a goal in 105 days. There's not one coach who, given a task, given reins, given leadership, given charge, doesn't feel like they can't get a group of players to play at a high level, at a new standard of level in 105 days. I don't have Matt Rhule's calendar of where he wants to be and when he wants to be there. When is the install in place? When is the roster complete? When is the coaching staff working at level 10 instead of level 5? Remember, We are in May. So what are coaches doing? Are they still recruiting? Are they recovering? Are they vacationing? Are they going to concerts? Or are they in film study with their nose to PJ Fleck's offense, defense, and special teams, trying to find some advantage that they can put in play for August 31st? They're not in the same place. But 105 days gives you time. It gives you time. It gives you time to get everything in play. In order to do that, yesterday we talked about Marcus Satterfield and the offense and the things that we can focus on over 106 days. Today, we're going to talk about Tony White and this defense and what can be put in play in 105 days to beat Minnesota. And it's full ranging. And yesterday I said with Matt Rhule, a big thing that's in play is ownership and charge. And the same thing applies here. The Penn State mentality of Matt Rhule in the Big Ten makes him familiar in space to what he wants to be and what he wants to identify as. Physical, intelligent, strong, point of attack, brilliance. That's my belief that this defense needs to be to have success in the Big Ten and specifically to beat Minnesota. But here's the thing. There is one advantage in not being familiar. Minnesota does not know in full what Tony White and the Huskers defense is going to bring to the table. They do not know exactly what their plan of attack is. Maybe Tony White has identified and shared with Matt Rhule that there is a thing that Minnesota does. There's a chink in the armor. That's all that he's looking for. He's looking for something in the shadows. That Nebraska has the personnel, the scheme, and the ability to execute against Minnesota. Now, whether that's taking away something in the run game, play one in the running game book, maybe he decides we're going to take that away, or maybe he thinks that the Minnesota's best play, and they have time to identify it, that maybe that play will not work against the 3-3-5 on a regular basis, or that there are things within the 3-3-5 that can take away Minnesota's run game. And we know that PJ Fleck loves to run the ball. Point of attack advantage. He likes to be +1 at every situation, point of attack. He doesn't particularly attack defenders on the second half of the field. Sometimes he will block everybody play side, point of attack, half the field. And he'll put more blockers in that space simply to gain the advantage at the point of attack. Sometimes he will not attack the back end of the defense, so that point of attack, he's plus numbers in that space. So Tony White will look and see, okay, this is what they like to run, the play that they've run the most over the past 3 years under this leadership. What's their favorite play? Can we take it away? Can we humble it? Do we have the personnel to do so? And in taking away the best thing that Minnesota does, which is run the football off tackle, forget about off center. They move from center line to hash mark in numbers, in greater numbers. Can Nebraska concede something else on the back end or away from the play to take away Minnesota's advantage at point of attack? Tony White, Matt Rhule are going to have those discussions. Look at film, looking for a thing, repetition, high volume, high quantity, high quality. What do we see? And in what we see, what can we do to take it away and to attack it? How do you make, and again, it depends on the coach. Do you want to take their best play away or concede the best play and take away everything else? 105 days to determine what it is, the plan of attack for Minnesota, the plan of development for Nebraska, And that leads us to this point. We'll throw the break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the different groups and what's in play, what can be asked and developed over the course of time. 105 days to get prepared to beat Minnesota. Hey, gang, welcome back. Locked On Huskers. Again, thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. Greatly appreciate it. I do want to give a shout out to Mark Onweiler, who makes this thing go. Greatly appreciate you get to see him in the early clips. That was my kind of the lob to, is to allow him to actually get into this thing because he puts in the work that matters. Again, once again, we thank the folks from Birddogs. Look better, feel better wearing Birddogs. That's how simple it is. Stretchy fabric, makes your legs look good. Okay, it's going to be comfortable. Birddogs. We're talking about 105 days. 30 of those, we set a mental boundary for the 30-day mark when camp starts, when camp begins, and okay, you get to work. But that 30-day is just an accumulation of the next 75. Are people getting healthy? Are people getting stronger? Are people getting faster? Are people getting smarter? Are people getting more focused? When do you want that focus to land? Do you want players at Mach 5 come August 1st? Or do you need it August 15th? Or are you working now from a mental standpoint? You know what? Physically, we can develop and recover and reform and change, reshape. And we can do all that. And that's work. That's actual work that every day for the next 75 days before you get to camp, that you can change your body. If you're having difficulty in going one-on-one, taking on blocks, shedding blocks, certain routes to cover, identify getting your hands on the bigs up front and identify what's going on. You have 75 days to work on that before it becomes activated. Because then you're installing as a team. And you're giving verbiage IQ as a team come August. All to prepare yourself for August 31st. In the meanwhile, the 75 days that lead up to that, the coaches have to get better, the staffing has to get better, and the players have to get better. All of those things can be identified. The first thing that has to be identified in the 105 days from this point forward is, where are you? And then 2, who are you? In order to, and on the GPS, saying who you are and what you're doing is important. In-game mission is beat Minnesota. That's at the end of the GPS. Program the GPS, beat Minnesota. Then it'll say, okay, this is where you are currently. And you're coming off a losing season, another losing season. And you are now with new coaches. And you are now with new stars. You're now with new leaderships on offense. You're now where the most talented player on defense is new to the program. You're now without high-quality players, but you do return captains on defense. But those captains are learning as well. They have to learn a new system, new verbiage under Tony White. They have to learn new responsibilities, new reads, new verbal shares with the people in front of them and the people behind them and the people beside them. Let's start with the bigs up front, edge setters in the 3. Sometimes we'll move down. Sometimes they are the actual boundary and edge setters. Sometimes they are the Pac-Man who are just there to occupy blockers so that these athletes behind them can get in and make plays. And then, are you comfortable as a fan? Are we comfortable as media? Are the coaches comfortable? Are the players comfortable? And that the players that they have in store, that they have locked up on the roster, are good enough to shut down Minnesota's run game, because that's the game. That's the game. Jeff Sims in the offense, Marcus Satterfield in the offense can do work, but they don't want to be in a chase game against Minnesota's defense. And the best way to make sure that happens is that Minnesota run game gets shut down and they're off the field in 3 plays. that they're working at a disadvantage on first down after a run. They're not getting plus yardage. You're not putting yourself in second and short. You're not putting yourself in third short. Third and long is the space that Minnesota and PJ Fleck don't want to operate offensively. They don't want to be there. That's not where they get their mail. Their mail is being carried and toted, and they like it physical. And they like to be more athletic. So can the three bigs defensively for Nebraska, have they identified who those three are? And then understanding that Tony White has the ability, if he really likes the roster, that he's figuring out, okay, I've got my run stoppers, I got my gutters, right? I've got my foundation setters. I got those big bricks that I can build around. That Ty Robinson in the group. And you've got some young folks who are going to be mentioned and who are going to be considered. And we don't know what we get from them because it's entirely different than for you to run up against a 270-pounder in high school on the edge versus a 325-pounder from Minnesota. They're not the same. They're not the same. So what Tony White can do is, hey, you know what? They've got these bigs that like to mash, but what I can do is outnumber them. I can take a risk. There's some things I can do. I can put more bodies in space. I can outnumber the outnumbers. Minnesota and Fleck, they want to put, you know what, 2 blocks point of impact. They need seal on either side of them. And then they got another hammer that comes through before the nail. Nebraska can send +1. They have to concede something, whether it's the deep end, the top half of the defense, or the back half of the defense. They can make those choices. And the athletes that Nebraska has on defense can do those things. You've got edge-setting linebackers who can move and change positions. Look, if we see Luke Reimer lining up over center 4.5 yards back, we're okay because he's got help on the outside. But if you pull Luke outside and take some of that burden off, that means you've got bigs up front that are freeing up Reimer and Heinrich to just shoot gaps and make plays, to take chances. But that requires trust in your safeties, trust in your extra bodies back there, being able to identify tendencies from Minnesota. What personnel does Nebraska need on the field? You have 105 days to play chess, mental and physical chess. What does Buda Wright allow me to do? What situations can I put him in? What does Gabe Stanger give me? Can I count on Blaise Gunnerson to take on tackles for 17 plays a half? Or am I asking too much? Do I need to free up Sherman? Do I need to move him around? Can I interchange Nick and Luke and allow some of them to take offensive burden backside? Like if I can have Reimer as the backside guy, not taking on an extra offensive lineman or a fullback. Well, if Heinrich is willing to do that, capable of doing that, and that's health, and that's all that recovery and stuff that we've been talking about, then Reimer's is free. Or maybe it's Reimer's chance to go up there and take it on and move into space and allow Heinrich to get in play and make plays. Trusting safeties to clean up the messes, to clean up the misses, and then to identify the misreads. Having safeties you trust, and then having corners on the side. And I can say this as cleanly as I can say this simply. Malcolm Hartzog is going to be vital because the decision Tony White's going to have to make is, does he want him on play side against their 1A receiver, or does he want to put him backside that he could shut down receiver 1B or 2A and then just trust that numbers, congestion, traffic stifles the 1A on play side? The chess match has begun. It doesn't begin at kickoff. It begins in May. 105 days of putting in the work. The crafting, forming, developing of Nebraska's defense is important and vital over the course of this thing. 105 days until beat Minnesota. We'll be right back to Locked On Huskers. Hey gang, DP here again. Thank you. You subscribed. You did. I saw it. Thank you for subscribing to Locked On Huskers. Greatly appreciate you doing that for us. And again, you everydayers who have already subscribed to get this content, Greatly appreciate it. Again, put your comments down. If you've got, an episode that you want some things covered, you want to break down, you want to just chop it up. There's a thing, another sport you want to talk about, a particular player you want to talk about, put it down there in the comments. And we'll get to it over the course of these days. Again, we got 105 days until beat Minnesota. And I'm really specific. I'm really detailed when I say this. The season rests on Minnesota because there's so many new variables and there's so many question marks and there's so many things that we're not sure of. We don't know whether we trust the roster. We don't know whether the roster stays healthy. We don't know if the coaching staff has a clear understanding of who it has. We don't even know what the 85 scholarship roster looks like. Like, we don't know what the 85 is going to be. We don't know who's going to be on the roster 75 days from now, who's on it now. We don't know where new players are coming from. We don't know which players who are currently under scholarship are going to be playing somewhere else or looking to play somewhere else or sent to play somewhere else. What we do know is that they have 105 days to work on all of those things for them, for us, and for you. They have 105 days to get it together. And there are, I can tell you, I've said this before, you can measure the state of a program by the number of questions you have about it. That is a statement of truth. 105 days. We'll get to figure it all out. Again, thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. We'll close with the 3 words that we love so much. Go Big Red.